you guys. It is a little bit before 5. I woke up about 4:30 and obviously Hubs is still asleep. So before I even got out of bed, I did all of my stretches, which I typically do every morning. And then I went in and I brushed my teeth and washed my face. And I go ahead and if I'm going to be outside, I'm going to walk this morning with my trainer. So if I'm going to be outside, I go ahead and put on my sunscreen and my skincare, and then that a little bit of my tinted foundation, and then I put on some of that Essence lip gloss that I like so much. It's more like a lip balm, but it's got a little bit of color to it. And then I come down to the kitchen and I just made coffee. And Hubs and I don't know if you can see that or not, but Hubs and I, we like it kind of strong and black. And then I also give myself a little shot of Metamucil in my coffee. I keep it in a little canister by my coffee to kind of keep things moving, if you know what I mean. And then before Hubs gets up, I typically, if I need to run the dishwasher or the washing machine or the dryer, I'll sometimes get a load started, because when he comes down, he really likes to just sit in the dark and in the quiet. So I turn off all of the lights for him and everything before I go outside, and I can run a load of laundry or run the dishwasher, and then it's pretty much done by the time he gets up. The other good thing is, if you do it early in the morning, it's less stress on the grid, and I have better water pressure because nobody else is typically insane enough to be up at this hour. So, oh, by the way, I also, if I get a text early in the morning, I typically do not check my phone first thing. But if I get a text or something like that first thing in the morning, I do check it, because it's quite often from one of my siblings. We're on a big a mass text stream thread. And that means sometimes that something's going on. It could just be that somebody wants to say good morning or point out. I've got a brother who's really into the night sky, and he'll sometimes tell us something that's going on. But we also get family information. And today I'm concerned because my brother-in-law Gary is in the hospital, and so a lot of love is going out to my sister Terry and her husband, and I'll probably dedicate my meditation to them this morning. So thinking of you guys. And now I'm just going to head outside. Well, as you can see, it's pretty much pitch black outside, and the heat doesn't dissipate at night this time of year. So it's probably 80, 81 out here. It's kind of muggy. When I first come out, it doesn't feel very pleasant, but once I sit still and I'm in a place where I might get a breeze, it's kind of nice. And obviously the sun isn't up, but I try to take as much advantage of these morning hours as I possibly can. I like the company of my string lights when I am out here. And I am heading for, you guys are probably familiar with the chairs. Sorry, it's dark, you can't really see. But the chairs that I keep out here in the garden that float outside in the lawn. And this is typically where I sit. I come out here and just enjoy the birds for a little while, or the crickets. And again, when I keep still in this location, there's a little bit of a breeze, and before I know it, it feels really pleasant out here, at least so far. Some mornings it's delightful, but now I am getting ready to just sip my coffee for a bit. Oh, and by the way, while I make my coffee, I typically drink a great big old glass of water before I even start consuming coffee. String lights are so important in the garden, don't you think? So I do drink a great big glass of water, and then when I'm sitting out here in the quiet, I will put on my meditation app, and my meditation app is 10% happier. I really like it, and I've used it for years. And the other reason I always put in a load of laundry or something like that is that way it'll be done by the time Hubs gets up, because he likes to sit in the dark in the kitchen or in the breakfast room, and he doesn't like that kind of noise. So that way I can get a little bit done, a little bit started, not only because it's the early morning and the noise won't disturb him, but also because it's kind of water-wise, because I'll have better water pressure when nobody else is up. So there you go. Now I'm going to start doing my meditation. Well, I'm on my front porch now, and Johanna, my darling trainer, aka the executioner, just got here. She is the hardest working graduate student and trainer that I know. Good morning, Johanna.
Good morning. What, you recorded me?
Because I have to. I'm recording my morning, and you couldn't look tired or not good if you tried.
Yes, I could, because I woke up 20 minutes ago.
You just woke up 20 minutes
Yes.
ago? Well, you're such a trooper to do this. You know I appreciate it,
No
don't
makeup,
you?
of course.
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, me neither. I hope not. Nobody's going to see us anyway because it's dark out. Okay, let's do this. Good morning, Stewart.
Good morning.
So this is typically what I do after I meditate, though it's a little bit early even for me. It's now 6:15. Normally about 6 is when I'll get out here. And Johanna, sometimes, you guys have met Johanna, the hardest working grad student and trainer. And by the way, I am not mic'd up for obvious reasons. Neither one of us are, because we don't want to be mic'd up as we walk around the park. So Johanna I guess she motivates me, because obviously she's so tall and her stride is so long that I have to keep my pace up just to be able to keep up with her. So that's one of the reasons. Plus, we stop along the way at various benches and we do different exercises. When I'm by myself, I probably don't walk as fast, so that's why it's fun. And it's also more fun, don't you think, to just have companionship when you're out walking. Now, we do this when we can. In the wintertime, and sometimes even in the summer, we'll work out in my basement. But last time we did that, it was still so hot in my basement that it's cooler to do it this time of day. So one thing I do stretches at home beforehand. And by the way, I didn't mention this earlier. One of the first things I do as soon as I wake up and I go to the bathroom for the first time, I put on my watch, because I am just a step fanatic, and I want to make sure that I get all my 10,000 steps in every day. So I want to make sure every single one of them is recorded. Okay, so one of the problems that I always have is my hip flexors, and it's hard for me to get a really good stretch, and I've had hip flexor problems in the past. So Johanna usually starts me out with some hip flexor stretches. So what am I doing?
Your foot up, back foot straight, and lean into it, keeping your chest.
Okay, talk loudly. Yeah, so anyhow, she puts my foot up, keep my back foot straight, because as you guys know, if you've seen me walk, I walk like a duck, like a ballerina. I walk like this, and it's really hard for me to keep my back foot straight, and it kind of affects, I don't know how my stability is. So I guess it's a good stability exercise for me to just keep my back foot straight, because then I have to learn where my center of gravity is. So we do this on each side. To get kind of a good stretch through here, because I don't know, it's one of the places that I have an issue. So I think that's a good place to start, is wherever you think you have an issue is kind of work on that and stretch it out beforehand. And are we supposed to stretch afterwards too? Yes. Okay, we're supposed to stretch afterwards too. So we are we've got our hip flexors stretched out, and then I also a lot of times have a little bit of problems with my shins. So it's hard to stretch your shins out, but I do try to do that as much as I can, is to really stretch my shins out before I get started. And then probably the reason that I started with Johanna to begin with, Stewart, do you think people can hear us?
I think so.
Okay. That I started with Johanna to begin with is because I am of the age, well, it's always important for us to have resistance training and weight bearing exercise, but I am definitely at the age where I need to take care of my bones so that I have a little bit of osteopenia, but don't want it to get any more severe than that. So a lot of times as we're walking in my very pretty park, and Stewart, if you don't mind showing just kind of how it's situated and some of the pretty houses around the park. And it's kind of nice, and there's always pretty many people out, even if you get here before it's completely light out. And it was starting to turn light at 5:45 when you showed up at my house. So it's a lovely park. Granted, it's a little bit brown right now because it's so hot and it's so dry. But this is where the neighborhood has all of our festivities and things. And so I can use the benches that are located at regular intervals around the park to do my push-ups. Johanna, are you going to tell me to keep my head up?
You're doing good. You look good. That's 10.
And I'm trying to get better I'm trying to slowly increase the number that I do. And that's also why I have Johanna's, and she also helps Hubs, because we just wouldn't push ourselves that hard. Is that right? She shames us a little bit, and she isn't. It is necessary. A little bit of shame is a good thing. And she's in such good shape that she inspires me and also motivates me, because you're a full-time grad student and she works harder than anybody I know. And plus, I don't have any daughters myself, so I kind of adopt her. So anyhow, we're gonna get going on our laps, and typically we walk for about an hour, don't we? Typically about an hour. And
a good day, maybe 3 miles.
Yeah, and a good day, maybe 3 miles. And a lot of it depends on just how hot it is and how late in the day we start. But we'll be doing some regular exercises at the garden benches along the way. So we're gonna get started. And I always have to have water. I don't know how people walk without water or exercise without water, but I have to have it at all times. So I'm not good about all of my exercises, especially I think the ones that require stability, because of the way I stand and how flexible I am, which isn't always a good thing. But I am pretty good at tricep dips. So explain what I'm doing, Johanna.
So she's working that back side of her arms, back here. So she's bending her elbows, keeping her back really tight against the bench. She doesn't want to be super far away. The hardest version is what she's doing with her feet all the way out. If she wants to make it easier, she can step her feet in a little bit, and it will take some of your body weight load off of you. She's keeping her head up, which is something she's working on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. They are a lot harder than you think, because it's your own body weight.
Yeah, and sometimes I do repetitions, but sometimes I just do it for a certain period of time. She sets a timer and I do it for that period of time, and I never do it as fast as she would like. She's always telling me, go faster, and I say, I am just trying to survive.
You did those pretty fast.
I did those not too bad. One of the things about my park that I love is so many things, like this bench has been donated in memory of a longtime a resident of the neighborhood. This is a beautiful, beautiful Shumarty oak. And a lot of the trees in the park were planted in memory of local residents, and the city of Oklahoma City maintains it. And it is the site where we have, like, the 4th of July picnic was here, and we have Oktoberfest. All sorts of things go on. Sometimes there's softball, is it softball? Yeah, softball practice here and things like that. So it's really wonderful, and I'm so fortunate to have a great park like this. We've actually got several nice parks within walking distance of where I live. And then, Stewart, if you don't mind, if you haven't already, kind of show the pretty houses, the tree-lined houses along the park. Okay, so we're at the next bench, and we are very fortunate that today we actually have some cloud cover. Johanna just commented on how pretty the clouds look this morning, which is really nice, and it reduces the temperatures considerably, makes it a lot nicer. So we're going to do some step-ups here, and what I like about this is it just gets up our heart rate, and yeah, works your rear end. My rear end already hurts, Johanna, from the last time we worked out. So I was asking Johanna if she thought it was gross that I wear the same workout clothes all week long. So I put them on Monday, and I wear them throughout the course of the week. I know, but we're all about being authentic on this channel. Now notice how good she does it, and how great her form is, and how mine is just whatever. But I promise you, my heart rate is getting up there, isn't it? Yeah, she does it real elegantly. I just am getting by because I am old and she is not, which I have to remind her of frequently. Isn't that right, Johanna?
Yes.
And kudos to Stewart for getting up at the crack of dawn to do this. But as we were both discussing earlier, I am definitely a morning person. Stewart actually is pretty much a morning person.
Yeah.
And Johanna, she swings both ways. She can stay up late and study, and she can also get up very, very early in the morning. So I'm done with those, Johanna.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I can stay up late and then I can't sleep in. So that's like, I'm a forced morning person, because I definitely stay up late some nights. But yeah, then I just can't sleep past 7:30.
If I get up early, I have to go to bed early. But that's okay with me, because it's too hot to be doing anything anyway. Okay, so we're gonna probably just complete our number of laps, and that pretty much is, and I'll do different exercises at different locations. We may stop at the picnic table here and do a few
Split squats.
I hate split squats. You don't get to see me do split squats. Split squats, because I hate them, and I'll probably fall over, and I can only take so much humiliation at this time of the morning. So we're going to finish our workout, and then I'll meet you back at the house for the rest of the morning. Okay, I just said that I could only handle so much humiliation and that we were going to finish up, and this is what I mean about Johanna. Obviously, she thinks my humiliation tolerance is higher than it really is. So I am going to not do my split squats, but what do you call this one?
Pistol squats.
Pistol squats. And this is one of those things, you guys, there is a lesson in my humiliation for you. I was awful at this when we first started working out. Then I got really good at it. And then because of a lot of different things, I couldn't work out for a while, and I was bad about it. And I got worse about it. And now I'm trying to get my groove back of being good about it. And the key to this is to focus on one point. And happily, right across from this bench is one of the back sides of one of my favorite houses on this wall. So, okay, like I say, Johanna, okay, here's how this unfolded. Johanna said, I can't believe you will tell people that you don't wash your clothes in the middle of the week, but you won't show them how you do a split squat or a pistol shot. So I guess just watch me fall on my face, because I'm not very good. I'm not very good at this, as you can see. And I got to the point where I was really good, wasn't I, Johanna? And I could do it. Now, in my defense, I'm doing this after just doing the other exercise, and my legs are kind of tired. And so it's, if you're doing this, see how easily she does it, and with such grace, and I have to do this just to balance myself. But balance is one of the most important things as you get older. Ah! See? Okay, maybe, and I'm even worse on this leg.
That's why it's good.
I know, it's why it's good, and why she humiliates me. And I'm also better when I can really concentrate and when I'm not talking to you guys. Have I made enough excuses now?
I think so.
Okay. Okay, I can only handle so much humiliation. So, have you humiliated me?
Yeah, we're good.
Sufficiently. So, in exchange, there is parity here, because she humiliates me, and then as a mom, I get to drill her about her personal life. So it works out, doesn't it?
I guess.
It kind of works out. So anyhow, there, and please do not capture pieces of that video and turn it into a TikTok with bad music or anything. Stuart, that means you. So now, can we finish, now that I've humiliated myself twice to the universe? Okay, so now we're going to finish up. Ooh, that was a nice breeze. Did you feel it? Really nice. The other hint is to always, when there's a breeze, walk by where a sprinkler system is going off, because that creates a nice mist. Okay, now we're going to finish our walk, and we're going to head back. But Stuart, would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
You walk kind of with us. You don't have to tape us, but I do want to show you this wonderful house that I like so much, that we comment on the back of this house every time we're walking around the park. And by the way, some more information. I said hello to my friend Ryan and Junior. This is the park where we usually see them, and some of you wondered why Junior was in a stroller, and it's because Junior is very old and has arthritis. How old is Junior?
I forgot.
I think like 15 or 16. Junior's very old, so normally Dad would not spoil Junior so much, but Junior is
a senior. Junior is a senior.
well played, Stuart. Junior is a senior. So that's why. And then there's other regular recurring characters that we see when we walk around the park, and sometimes we even run into Hubs, don't we?
He'll get up.
Yeah, if he'll get up. We have to shame. You really have to shame him. It takes a lot. It takes a lot more work to shame him into activity than it does me. So okay, so we're going to finish our walk, and Stuart's going to show you that house, and then we'll meet you back at my house. So after I finish walking, I come back, and before I get dressed or anything, this is the time when I water. So by now it's, what time is it now, Stuart?
7:20.
7:20, and I'm actually getting out here a little bit later than I would normally, but we got stopped in the park, as often happens when you're with somebody as cute as Johanna. And a woman that was walking in the park that lives just a block over, she stopped us and said that we looked like we knew what we were doing in terms of stretching and stuff. And I told her, well, that was a stretch, literally a stretch.
Pun intended.
Pun intended. But she had just had hip replacement and knee replacement a couple of years ago, and she was still recovering. And she, long story short, we talked about that for a while. Her husband was also walking in the park. He's also interested in getting a trainer. And I'm always, Johanna works with a number of people in the neighborhood. So whenever I can, I try to help her with her business. And so this couple was just delightful, just absolutely delightful. Sally and Bill, I feel like we have some new friends. And so anyhow, they shared information, and Johanna is going to contact her about helping her with, I think, regain some of her strength, some of her stamina, and get her working parts back in order. So we stopped and we visited with them for a while, and now I am watering. And even though you guys will have already seen it by then, by the time you see this, you will have seen the watering video that Stewart and I did, which is going to be the live tonight. So that is pretty exciting. So now I am just going to do my deep watering here. Then I'll move on to the other section. And then I'll go inside and take just a quick cool shower, quick cool bath using very little water, and then get dressed, and I'll meet you then. So now that I've gotten my watering done, I am going to make my bed, and after I make my bed, I typically do my 1 minute plus plank. I think I'm up to 64 seconds now, and I do about 15 push-ups, and then I get dressed. So now my bed is made, and I feel all is right with the morning now that that's done, and I'll go in there and get dressed and get on with the day. So that's pretty much my routine up to this point. So now I'm dressed and I've come back down to the kitchen. Typically, after I finish watering, that's when I shoot my today in the garden. And so I can get that to Stewart so Stewart can get that out to you. And sometimes if I don't have other obligations, like today I have a podcast with Tip of the Tongue at 9 o'clock. That's hard to say, tip of the tongue. If I have an obligation early, then I don't work out in the garden. But sometimes if I don't, and if Stewart and I aren't shooting, then I'll work out in the garden maybe for 30 minutes to an hour before it gets really, really hot. So it just kind of depends on the day. Every day is different at a certain point in time once I finish watering. So today, I so many of you have asked about what I eat and how I take care of myself. So obviously exercise is a big component of that. I'm a very huge advocate for the use of sunscreen, and I'll put a link. I love liquid sunscreen by Neutrogena, and I also love the tinted sunscreen from Zio, which kind of works as a foundation. And again, I put that on before I even go out and walk in the morning. And then in terms of what I eat, so this morning after I do my podcast at 9, I am meeting a friend at 10:15 for breakfast. If I am not meeting a friend for breakfast later in the day, then sometimes I eat one and sometimes I don't, just depending on kind of what my schedule is. But here's how my body works. So for example, if I woke up and I did nothing but just eat a peach or a nectarine, and then I went out and I exercised, I would have a huge sugar crash, and a debilitating one. I figured this out when I was going to the gym before COVID, and that's if I eat something in the morning that is nothing but carbohydrates. For example, even when I used to eat high fiber cereal with skim milk, there wasn't enough protein, there wasn't enough fat in it. If I just eat fruit or just a piece of toast, I will have a huge blood sugar crash, and then I'm pretty much done for the day. It makes me shake, it makes me ravenous then, and it just doesn't work for me. So if I don't eat anything, counterintuitively, that works for me, and I can go for a pretty long period of time before I do. Now, on a typical morning about this time, after I've gotten dressed, after I've kind of gotten ready for the day, that's when I will come down and make myself something to eat. And a typical breakfast for me, Stewart, you can verify this, because sometimes if Stewart's here and we're getting ready to shoot, I'll make both of us a piece of avocado toast, or a poached egg with toast, or scrambled eggs with spinach, something like that. Periodically in the summer, particularly when the fruit is really good, I will slice up a peach or something like that. I'll put some oatmeal on it and I'll make kind of a fake crumble. I'll put a little bit of butter on it and a little bit of sweetener, and I'll put that with a tiny bit of almond milk in the microwave until it's all soft and soothing. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of vinegar. That wouldn't be very good. Vanilla or cinnamon, something like that, and I'll eat that with a little bit of vanilla yogurt on top. So it kind of just depends on what I am hungry for in the morning, but I don't eat a lot, and typically at that time I'll have another cup of coffee and try to have another big glass of water, and that's kind of what I eat. A lot of times I won't eat until, noon, or sometimes even 1 o'clock, at which point I'll have something a little bit bigger, and then I won't eat again until later in the day. Typically, I eat a very, very early dinner. I don't like to eat late. I don't like the way it makes me feel before I go to bed. Now, that's obviously if I'm not going out to dinner or I'm in a situation where I'm dining with friends or something like that. But as a rule, we typically eat very early, so we'll do the rest of the day in another video. But right now, what I am thinking about is what I'm going to have for dinner. So if I need to take anything out of the freezer, if I need hubs to go to the grocery store and pick something up for dinner, as I'm kind of planning that, I'll do that in the morning as I'm eating my breakfast. And then I'm also kind of planning the rest of my day. At this point, I'll tackle my phone, I'll go through some emails, I'll check YouTube and see what you guys have to say. And then it just depends on how the rest of the day and our schedule unfolds. Because as I said, it is different every day. One thing that Stewart and I have really tried to do, and that's do our videos a lot earlier in the morning, because it is just prohibitively hot. Too hot for us to be out there, and certainly too hot for the garden to look very good. So that's kind of what is happening up to this point in time. And I think, Stewart, we just kind of need to conclude there. I need to head upstairs and get online, make sure that my computer is working and everything to do this podcast, which will, with Liz William at Tip of the Tongue, it will last, I don't know how long. It'll last maybe 30 minutes to an hour. You may or may not have heard the blowers going off outside, because I'm doing this on a Friday, and Friday is when one time a week I have some guys come and they just blow my beds for me and sometimes do leaf cleanup and things like that. It's one of the little treats I give to myself. They're not here for any length of time. And that is where we are at this point in the day. So Stewart, sometime we need to do what your average day looks like, or maybe not. So I'm going to head upstairs to do this podcast, and I will see you guys later. Well, here is my outfit of the day. My earrings are some of those lightweight wooden earrings that I got in bulk off of Amazon. Stewart, let's put up a link for the people. My ring is that great big bulky wood ring. Some of you liked it and some of you didn't like it, but I don't know, I just love the organic quality to it. I got this at Plenty Mercantile. My bracelet I got at Ulta many, many years ago, and I got this at a street fair, this bead bracelet, which kind of matches the outfit I have on today, which according to my uniform for the summer of 2022 is a version of a house dress. Some of you, I think, saw this when I did a thrifting video. I got this at Goodwill because I was looking specifically for clothes that I will take to Singapore later in the year for my son's wedding. And this is so comfortable. It's so lightweight. You can dress it up or you can dress it down, and I just love the way it looks. And then my sandals, I believe I got these at Target, and yes, I do have a fresh pedicure. Stewart, is that everything?
I think so.
Okay, you guys have a great day.